Krishna Mishra and the Mysterious Movie Star from the Krishna Mishra series. This is Book 1, written by Amrita Basu and read to you by Amrita Basu.
Krishna Mishra is an ex-army intelligence officer and has an MBBS under his belt. Then he specialized in forensic medicine and enrolled in the army. Nowadays, Krishna has his own detective agency. He often teams up with his wife Riya. She is his best friend, assistant, boss, and famous in her own rights. When yesteryear filmstar Anurag Chatterjee gets involved with the case of misplaced luggage, he meets with Detective Krishna Mishra to solve the problem. It looks like a simple case until a brutal murder makes it a race against time to find the motive of a dangerous killer. Health Wealth Rich presents Krishna Mishra and the Mysterious Movie Star. This is part of Voice of Anchor Challenge, and we are racing against time to become the first Voice of Anchor.
You're listening to the Doctor's Creative Diary podcast, and here's the show.
Krishna sat down, noisily scraping the chair next to the kitchen table. He was not looking happy. This was Sunday morning, and a VIP client was insisting on visiting his home about a case. Krishna had agreed with reluctance. Now Riya was looking anything but pleased with his decision. Krishna Mishra is an ex-army intelligence officer and has an MBBS under his belt. Then he specialized in forensic medicine and enrolled in the army. Nowadays, he has his own detective agency. Towering a little over 6 feet, he is handsome, lean, muscled, with a disarming, charming smile. For all his movie star looks, Krishna is unaware of his effect on women. A wicked sense of humor, coupled with a razor-sharp brain, makes him the modern-day Feluda. He never smokes and always has a book in his backpack. If he looks like Feluda, then being a Poirot fan helps him crack his cases by diving into the mind of criminals. Morning runs and gardening is an essential part of his daily routine because only a calm mind could unravel reason from chaos. Living in Kolkata and working all over the world, when Krishna has the best of both worlds. Riya is his wife, best friend, assistant, boss. Famous in her own right. A movie star turned journalist, she's petite and gorgeous. Her heart-shaped face, Bengali eyes, waist-length hair make people stop in their tracks. Riya's brain and her tongue are equally sharp, but her charm saves her from many sticky situations. She now owns a media company, blogging, vlogging, and podcasting her way to popularity. Together, they were a team. You know, Riya, you could help me with this case instead of making me feel guilty. You and guilty? It's unlikely that you ever feel guilty when there's a treasure to find, grumbled Riya. The sudden chirping of a sparrow broke the thread of their conversation, and Riya went to open the door. In a blue kurta and pink khadi pants, she looked waif-like as she opened the door to a stranger. Namaskar, the bespectacled VIP with a back trolley bag said with a smile. I have an appointment with Mr. Krishna Mishra. The man was famous in the glittery circle of Kolkata film industries and was once a heartthrob of many. But time is cruel, and he had lost much of his hair and glamour. The smile, though, was still rakish and charming. Riya ushered him in while Krishna stood up to greet him. Please sit, Mr. Chatterjee. I was waiting for you. What will you have? Tea, coffee, or juice? Tea, please. No milk or sugar. I prefer black, not the fancy organic green stuff, smiled Mr. Chatterjee. Both Krishna and Riya smiled back hearing this. Yes, we have some beautiful second flush Darjeeling tea from the Thompson estate. It's perfect for a Sunday morning, said Riya. Leaving the room, she gracefully kept the kitchen door ajar. Making tea and listening to the client, both was on the agenda. Krishna, I need your help, and the matter is private. I don't want information about this to leak to media houses, whispered Mr. Chatterjee. Aggression is our specialty, said Krishna. It's a little delicate, Mr. Chatterjee whispering again. He was looking at the half-open kitchen door through the corner of his eyes. Riya is my wife and my trusted assistant for the last 10 years. We are a team, and anything you say here stays here, Krishna answered. I didn't mean to, mumbled Mr. Chatterjee, looking uncomfortable. No, don't worry. I understand, said Krishna. Riya came floating into the room. She was balancing a woven bamboo tray laden with food. 3 beautiful cups of fragrant Darjeeling tea, homemade cauliflower shingaras, and carrot cakes. Krishna rose to help her set it down and serve. Over tea and snacks, Mr. Chatterjee started telling his story. His one indiscretion had created trouble of the worst kind. In all this, someone took his nondescript black trolley bag at the airport. That would be innocent enough, but Mr. Chatterjee in a hurry had picked up someone else's bag. It looked the same, except the content belonged to a woman. His travel bag was a nondescript black trolley. He had picked it up without checking. He was in a hurry, and now his wife was after him, asking for an explanation. And Mr. Chatterjee was clueless. The bag was nameless. Krishna and Riya both looked at each other. "But you can report it to the airport and they will take care of this, right? I'm sure this will work out cheaper without our intervention," said Krishna. "Oh, don't worry about money. I will pay handsomely. But I want you to find out who the owner is," was Mr. Chatterjee's cryptic answer. "Is this the bag?" asked Krishna, pointing to the bag Mr. Chatterjee had placed beside him. "Why, doesn't your wife believe you?" burst out Riya. Both men turned and looked at Riya. "Why?" asked Krishna. "Is there something you are not telling us, Mr. Chatterjee? I can't take a case without knowing the complete details." To know why Mr. Chatterjee's wife doesn't believe him and his indiscretion, listen to the next episode, Audio Artist Dr. Amrita Basu, produced by Healthwell Bridge. Mr. Chatterjee was by this time taking something out of his pocket. It was a sparkling silver chain with a rose-colored pen drive hanging from it. There was a charm with M written on it. "I had an affair 17 years back. The lady in question has a name starting with M. My wife insists this is her bag. But I opened this pen drive to see if I could find the owner's info here. But there's no name or address. There's a map in the pen drive and a series of numbers. That's it," said Mr. Chatterjee. This intrigued Krishna. He picked up the pen drive and noticed the design near the bottom of the pen drive, which looked like a key. It had a faint joining going all around it. He tried pulling it and nothing happened. "It's probably a design element. Let me look at it." Riya took the pen drive, looked closely at the letter M of the charm and the silver chain. It was a delicate chain and was undoubtedly something belonging to a woman. "So your wife's suspicion is baseless?" queried Riya, getting up to get her laptop. The question hung in the air. Riya went to the study and inserted the pen drive in the laptop. After a quick virus scan, she opened it. Seeing the map and series of numbers, Riya copied the files and saved them. Taking out the pen drive, she went back to the living room and said, "Mr. Chatterjee, take this. We won't need it now." "No," said Mr. Chatterjee. "I want you to keep the pen drive and this back too. My wife is driving me crazy. I want to tell her that you are dealing with this now." Na and Riya looked at each other. They could sense a determined client when they saw one. "Okay, Mr. Chatterjee," Krishna sighed. "We accept the case. Still, before opening the bag, we will need your consent to record the entire process. After checking the content in the bag, you can keep a list of the findings. Also, you will be required to sign a contract with us. Our lawyer will get in touch with you about the details. With travel, we prefer booking our own way, but you will be taking care of all the expenses." "Oh, that's perfectly okay. Money is no problem. I'm giving the number of my secretary. You can send over the contract. The rest she will manage. I have bought this as a booking amount." Mr. Chatterjee thrust an envelope at Krishna. Before he could say a word more, he left the room with more agility than his appearance gave him credit for. Riya had already grabbed the envelope and tore it open. "It's a check for 1,01 rupee. This makes good use of the Sunday morning, but I have a nagging feeling about this case. Is this a treasure map or something else? Oh no, please keep your gut feelings out of this one. We need to wind this down without a delay as the holiday is planned for next week." The headlines practically screamed at them. Renowned movie star of yesteryear's Mr. Anurag Chatterjee arrested. The glaring headline catching their attention Monday morning was no coincidence. "What?" burst out Riya. Riya and Krishna both started gulping down their breakfast. This was going to be one of those days, and there was no saying when they would have their next meal. Krishna made a few calls and called Raju, the driver, to take out the car. Riya went into the bedroom, changed into a powder blue churidar kurta, and tied her hair up in a French knot. A dab of strawberry lip tint, sunscreen, and she was ready. Riya then packed a quick lunch of methi paratha and tangy tomato chutney, grabbed 2 oranges, an apple, her travel tea mug, and her copper water bottle. She arranged this all in her green bamboo food hamper and grabbed her backpack. The baby pink slinky thing held a phone, wallet, laptop, multi-charger, and a power bank. Krishna found her waiting by the door when he came out of the study with his own small backpack. "Are we going for a picnic?" he twinkled, looking at the food hamper. "You know how it is with murder cases," Riya muttered. "Who told you it's a murder case? There's nothing written about any murder in the newspaper," grimaced Krishna. "I have a gut feeling," was Riya's curt reply. Krishna knew better than to argue with Riya and her gut feelings. It was 30 minutes before they reached Lake Police Station. That was where Mr. Chatterjee was being detained. Krishna had already made a few calls and asked their lawyer to be there too. Driving by the tree-lined Southern Avenue, Riya felt nostalgic. Those days when they used to stroll along the red-paved roads, their car came to a stop in front of the police station. Krishna jumped off before Raju could get out and open the door. Riya was quick to follow, her daydream cut short. The inspector in charge was not someone Krishna was familiar with, but his name and fame opened many doors. Plus, he was in the company of Riya. Who wouldn't want a beautiful movie star come journalist interviewing them? Riya glanced around with her Ray-Ban perched on a dainty nose while Krishna went to talk to the IC. She noticed Mr. Chatterjee with a glamorous woman in her mid-50s, a light grey Taaj sari. Pearls and a tear-stained face made her stand out in the grimy police station. With a steely glint in her eyes, she sat ramrod straight next to Mr. Chatterjee. A black-suited man with a gold tie pin who looked like a lawyer was whispering something in her ears. Mr. Chatterjee was staring with a forlorn expression at a cat sleeping curled in a corner. "Riya," called a familiar voice. She turned. Shujo, their lawyer, was standing just behind her. "You are late," said Shujo. Riya ignored the statement, catching the glint in his eyes and the slightest crinkling. Fair, clean-shaven, with a dimpled cheek, Shujo was movie star handsome. Why was she always around men like this? Wondered Riya. He was a childhood friend whom she almost married. But she fell in love with Krishna during Kalimpong a Kalinkari mystery. Now Shujo was dating a surgeon and they were all friends. At least in Riya's head, they were. Daydreaming in the middle of a police station? "Are you pregnant?" whispered Shujo with a crooked smile. Was Mr. Chatterjee arrested? What's happening next? "None of your business," snapped Riya while blushing beet red. Krishna turned, gesturing for them to go talk to Mr. Chatterjee. Seeing them, the gold tie-pin lawyer looked up with an impatient face. "Yes?" "I am Riya Mishra, wife of Krishna Mishra. This is our lawyer, Mr. Shujo Shen. Mr. Chatterjee has retained us to investigate a small matter. We could have a word with him." "Retained for what?" cried Mrs. Chatterjee, turning her face towards her husband. "Oh, Anu, I told you, the bag thing," mumbled Mr. Chatterjee. "Oh God, all that drama about the missing bag. That's her bag. You got it from her," was Mr. Chatterjee's angry whisper. "No, definitely not. I had accidentally met her in Delhi on Friday and she invited me for dinner with her family. That's all. Her husband missed dinner because of an urgent meeting and we dined alone." "Enough, Mr. Gold Tie-Pin. Not a word more. But who is this 'she'? And why is Mr. Chatterjee arrested? Asked Riya. The famous 80s star Meera Devi. That's who she is. And she's dead. Her maid found her strangled body today morning. Mr. Chatterjee was the last man seen talking to her on the home CCTV camera. It has no feed after 10 p.m. Friday night. The Delhi police have found the body in an advanced state of decomposition. Police suspect the approximate time of death to be around 10:20 a.m. Saturday morning. Her husband is claiming to have an alibi. He had left for Agra Friday evening when he missed the dinner plan. Mr. Gold Type-In explained with an expressionless face. How could I have killed her then? I caught the 1:45 flight from Delhi on Saturday, cried Mr. Chatterjee. Stop talking, snapped Mr. Gold Type-In. He strode up to the inspector in charge. Are you charging my client with murder? You do realize that his phone history will be enough to give him a clean chit. He checked into the airport around 10:45 a.m. Saturday morning. There's just no way he could reach Delhi airport from Green Park at that time. We are waiting for Delhi police to confirm a few things, said the IC curtly. Okay, I want a room to talk to my client. Mr. Gold Type-In looked determined. We want to talk to him too, chimed Riya. Mr. Chatterjee was looking even more dejected. His wife was nervously pulling at her cuticle. The woman loved her husband, thought Riya. But this treasure hunt was turning into a murder that didn't look right. Riya opened the door to their flat with a sigh. Krishna looked at her and said, I need to fly to Delhi once. Do you want me to come with you? Riya was looking tired. No, you have a web series to shoot for and start working on the treasure map. I'll be going tomorrow morning and coming back by late evening. Mr. Chatterjee's secretary is arranging the tickets. Thank God. Mr. Gold Type-In, let us talk with Mr. Chatterjee. The bag looks part of a plan to involve Mr. Chatterjee in something. What are we missing, Riya? What does the map point towards? What do you think? I think you need to sleep now if you want to catch the flight tomorrow morning, smiled Riya. Getting Krishna's travel bag ready, she set the alarm for 5 and went to bed. Except that he had visited the murder site. The Kolkata police asked them to wait for 48 hours before filing an FIR. Krishna came back on Wednesday night, tired and worn out. He would say nothing to Riya except that he wanted to sleep. Waking up Thursday morning to the sweet scent of Riya's shampoo, he smiled seeing her perched on the bed, wide awake, sitting with a cup of tea. Riya was staring at him with a worried look. Chatterjee's case is over, said Krishna smiling. What? Burst out Riya. But who killed Meera Devi and what happened in Delhi? You have no idea what the map says or those numbers. The first part, I know, said Krishna. The next part, not entirely. This is what I found out in Delhi. Mr. Chatterjee had an affair 17 years back. Meera Devi, at the height of her popularity, didn't want to get married, but she had a child and never told Mr. Chatterjee about him. The boy was growing up in a Doon hostel. Meera Devi had no child from a subsequent marriage. Her media mogul husband was having an affair with a starlet. Knowing this, Meera Devi had rewritten her will. That's the motive for murder and the murderer. There's only one problem. That will is missing. Mr. Chatterjee's phone location that he did a web check-in helped police clear the case against him. But until we get the will, a clear motive for murder against the media mogul husband is dicey. It's always the husband, exclaimed Riya. I thought it was always the butler, grinned Krishna. Oh, but she didn't have a butler, did she? Now, let's have some breakfast and check out the map once more, said Riya, getting up. Over cups of ginger chai, Riya and Krishna tried cracking the code again. Complicated algorithms were not helpful at all. Wait, we are making this too difficult. Let's try something. Riya stood in front of the mirror and held the paper with the map, touching the mirror flat. Mirror image seems to make a more complete sense. The map and random lines now seem to point at an address in Raspberry Avenue. Google Maps showed that it was the State Bank on Raspberry Avenue. The numbers looked like an account number. They phoned Shurjo and Mr. Chatterjee and were picking them up on the way to the bank. Chatterjee insisted on coming with them. The family drama seemed to have come to an understanding now. On reaching the bank, the security guard looked flabbergasted. He couldn't decide whether to ask for an autograph or take a selfie. Playing safe, he opened the door while fumbling for his phone in his pocket. The celebrity quotient of the local bank now went through the roof, thought Krishna. He went into the manager's office, confirming Meera Devi's account at the bank. The manager saw Mr. Chatterjee was the nominee. Mrs. Chatterjee was giving steely glances to her husband. The bank manager phoned the Lake Police Station. He was informing them about the necessity of opening the locker. The IC told him he was coming right over. Mr. Gold typed in and the IC arrived, and they trooped into the locker room. The first row of numbers now made sense as they saw the locker number. I will need the second key to open the locker. Cutting the locker will take time, said the manager. Wait, let me, Ria said, taking out the pen drive. On inserting the key-shaped end into the key slot and turning it, the locker opened. The locker had Meera Devi's will, jewelry, a blue velvet box with a folded map of West Bengal, and a letter addressed to Mr. Chatterjee. He was the legal guardian of Meera Devi's property until their son turned 25. Mr. and Mrs. Chatterjee arrived with a massive hamper, baked goodies from cakes the next evening. Ria, thank you, Krishna. We will never forget your help. But who replaced the bag? Asked Mr. Chatterjee. It was Meera Devi who had replaced your bag through an agent at the airport. She knew her life was in danger and planned this the day she met you in Delhi. Take care of your son. He will need you more now, Krishna explained. Ria took Mrs. Chatterjee to the balcony to show her the creeping roses. Gently, she said, I am imposing, but I think you can forgive Mr. Chatterjee. He never cheated on you. His son is now 17 and was born much before he met you and fell in love. Meera Devi didn't want to risk her stardom with the son in the picture. She also didn't want to get married at that time. But Mr. Chatterjee made a mistake in not confiding in you. Mrs. Chatterjee smiled, looking relieved. After chatting for some time, the Chatterjees said goodbye, leaving them with a white envelope as a parting gift. Ria and Krishna were expecting a big fat check for this work, and Mr. Chatterjee didn't disappoint. Krishna Mishra and the mysterious movie star coming up, whispered Ria as the Chatterjees left. She was planning on publishing the book on Kindle. The Dharamshala trip was next. Now for new adventures.
You were listening to Krishna Mishra and the Mysterious Movie Star, written by Amrita Basu and read to you by Amrita Basu. This is the first book in the Krishna Mishra Mystery series, published by Health Wealth Bridge. More information can be found on the author's website, healthwealthbridge.com. It's all together and it's healthwealthbridge.com. The ebook can be found at amazon.in and amazon.com. You can also find the author's website full of interesting trivia about the Krishna Mishra Mystery series.